L-Drago is one of the most iconic Beyblade lineages across all generations. Not only is it iconic, but it is also one of the most powerful lineages we've ever seen. In both the anime and real life, the power of L-Drago's first and second generation successfully translated into its real-life performance. But unfortunately, the same cannot be said for L-Drago's third and final evolution, Drago Destroy. In theory, it boasted one of the most perfect design concepts in the anime, combining the strongest traits of the first and second generations into a single Beyblade. However, unlike its predecessors, it completely failed to translate into real life, becoming one of the most underwhelming Beyblades ever created. Before we dive into why Drago Destroy turned out to be a disappointing failure, let's first look into Drago's history and how its previous evolutions completely encapsulated their design perfectly. Drago's uniqueness begins with its spin rotation, which was left spinning. In the Metal Fight generation, left spin Beyblades were exceedingly rare, making Drago stand out even more. Unlike the vast majority of Beyblades in the Metal Fight generation, which 95% spun to the right, Drago stood out as one of the only Beyblades to spin exclusively to the left, which led to an exclusive interaction with right spinning Beyblades. When a left spinning Beyblade goes head to head with the right spinning one, something fascinating happens called spin equalization, or what the Beyblade fandom likes calling spin stealing. This is where the opposing spin directions transfer energy back and forth, leveling out their spin speeds over time. In simpler terms, if neither Beyblade gets knocked out during the battle, it all comes down to balance, or also called life after death. The Beyblade with the most stable tip, or LAD, at the very last few seconds would typically win. This was commonly seen in battles involving Drago, which at times could be an advantage for Drago. Every Drago also had a unique design on its energy ring, being a dragon motif which had a special interaction with its fusion wheel. It was able to rotate slightly to expose a different type of contact point. This was what made Drago so special. It had a perfect design concept that it translated well into real life. Starting off with the very first Drago, we have Lightning Drago. In the anime, Lightning Drago was an absolute beast. It was able to interchange from two modes called Barrage Attack and Upper Attack. In the show, it often found itself destroying its opponent completely in battle with little to no struggle. In fact, the owner of this Beyblade, Ryuga, only lost one single time throughout this entire season, which was inevitably to the main character, Jinka Hagane. The main finisher move in the show was when Ryuga would change Lightning Drago into its upper attack mode, which was also just as overpowered in real life. You see, Lightning Drago had a really low height build with an extremely slanted contact point, which allowed it to scoop up its opponent easily. This was so strong that it was often used in competitive play as an attacker. Its upper attack capability was unmatched and is probably the best upper attacker in all of Beyblade. Now before we go on to the next Drago, let me tell you where you can get your own authentic Drago just like the ones in the video. This is Bayhaven. Bayhaven specializes in secondhand authentic Metal Fight Beyblades back from 2010. Bayhaven has all types of Metal Fight Beyblades from Season 1 to Season 3, as well as a section to build your own Beyblades and or buy parts separately. You might see some Beyblades that are sold out, but Bayhaven restocks every Friday at 12 AM, as well as have a section for extremely discounted Beyblades called Deals of the Week. Bayhaven is also running a 15% off sale for the entire month of December for the holidays, so be sure to check it out. And now back to the video. But as strong as Lightning Drago was, its successor took the concept of dominance to an entirely new level, introducing spin stealing like we'd never seen before. In the anime, Meteo L-Drago was a different type of beast. In fact, it was way stronger than the previous Lightning Drago. Ryuga had an astonishing 100% win rate throughout this season, even beating out the anime's main character, Jinka Hagane, which is absolutely crazy if you asked me. This version of Drago introduced a unique material onto its energy ring, which was the addition of rubber. This heavily increased L-Drago's ability to spin steel both in the anime and real life, as shown in one of Ryuga's most infamous clip where he threw L-Drago with his hand and still ended up winning. Which is kind of funny because if you look online, there are some videos in real life where the same exact situation happens with the real life Meteo. Meteo L-Drago was such a strong Beyblade that it was often used in competitive formats, but not for its attack potential. People would use it just for its spin stealing capability. The addition of rubber allowed this Beyblade to excel in just that alone. It completely matched how strong it was in the anime, which is why this Beyblade is one of the most popular ones in existence. Now, after two back-to-back successes, the expectations for L-Drago's final evolution couldn't have been any higher. With a new 4D design and a feature-packed tip, L-Drago Destroy seemed ready to cement itself as the ultimate Beyblade. But did L-Drago Destroy live up to the hype? In the anime, with L-Drago Destroy, Ryuga only lost one single battle, and that was to the final antagonist, who was basically a god at that point. And on paper, this Beyblade seemed like it had a perfect design concept to the anime. L-Drago Destroy combined the best elements of its predecessors into one ultimate Beyblade. Unlike their previous L-Dragos, where the dragon head energy ring was the plastic layer sitting on top of the metal fusion wheel, L-Drago flipped the concept. This time, the dragon heads were made out of metal, resting on top of a plastic frame that was embedded with rubber. This design allowed for two modes. By rotating the metal dragon heads, you could switch between absorb mode, where the rubber sticks out to spin steel, and attack mode, where the plastic portion sticks out for stronger hits. L-Drago Destroy also featured a unique 4D performance tip called Final Survive. Final Survive switched between two modes during battle. At the start, when you first launch L-Drago Destroy, centrifugal force causes the sharp tip to retract, exposing a flat surface. This made L-Drago Destroy's movement extremely aggressive at the start of the battle, where it would look for really quick knockouts. And in the case where L-Drago isn't able to knock them out and starts to slow down, the sharp portion of the 4D tip would deploy. This would enable L-Drago to tap into its spin stealing ability and absorb the energy from its opponent. And this basically mirrored its portrayal in the anime, where L-Drago would unleash its full power early on to secure a quick victory, but could also recover by absorbing its opponent's spin once the final survive tip activated. In theory, it's the perfect design for L-Drago. It could aim for quick knockouts while also surviving longer battles by absorbing its opponent's spin. And naturally, you'd expect it to perform just as impressively in real life, right? Realistically, L-Drago Destroy turned out to be one of the most underwhelming Beyblades ever made. Going back to the fusion wheel, the decision to make the dragon heads out of metal was its first major flaw. All the previous L-Dragos had natural upper attack because of the low height of the fusion wheel being pretty low. And since the dragon heads were now metal, the main contact points were raised higher, making L-Drago's primary contact points taller than the other Beyblades, as well as removing its natural upper attack. Coupled with L-Drago's already tall build, this design made it awkward and inefficient in battles. Now, for its attack mode, where the plastic portion of the frame became the main contact point, was another misstep. In a generation where most Beyblade contact points were made out of metal, relying on plastic severely reduced its attack potential. This made it hard for L-Drago to land strong enough hits to knock out its opponent. Absorb mode wasn't much better, and that was because the rubber on the frame was using hard rubber, which minimized its spin stealing ability. Instead of giving L-Drago an edge in stamina battles, this design choice left it struggling to keep up. But the biggest disappointment was its final survive tip. In theory, the aggressive flat tip had the potential for quick knockouts, but in practice, L-Drago lacked the power to hit hard enough, partly due to the design flaws of its fusion wheel. Its speed was also difficult to control, which often resulted in plain self-KOs. And when the sharp portion of the tip activated, things got even worse. You see, sharp tips are notorious for their poor balance, and in most cases, this caused L-Drago to lose any chance at winning life after death battles. Ultimately, L-Drago Destroy fell far short of its promising design. It would struggle to knock out its opponents, and it couldn't fully utilize its spin-stealing capabilities to secure wins, making it a letdown compared to its theoretical potential. And unfortunately, because of all of this, we almost never saw L-Drago Destroy used in competitive. Looking back at L-Drago's journey, it's clear that this Beyblade lineage was truly something special. From Lightning L-Drago's devastating upper attacks to Meteo L-Drago's legendary spin-stealing abilities, these Beyblades weren't just powerful, they defined their generation. They perfectly translated the anime's hype into real-life performance, and their legacy continues to this day. L-Drago's story isn't just about victories, it's about innovation and leaving a lasting legacy. While Drago Destroy didn't match the greatness of its predecessors, it still holds a special place in the hearts of fans. So yeah, that's Drago Destroy, still one of the most iconic Beyblades. And I'm sure if they tried making this Beyblade actually good, that it would have been a little bit too overpowered. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, and let me know if there are any other type of Beyblade lineages you want me to cover. And consider subscribing. Thanks, bye.